Okay everybody, so the big question everybody always wants to know, exactly how accurate are stock standard Lee Enfields? What were they designed to shoot when they were new from the factory, at their best, before they were worn out, before they'd been through the trenches, before they'd accumulated any damage, before the bores had worn out? What was the standard? So here it is. No. 1 Mark 3s were designed to shoot a 2 to 4 inch circle at 100 yards. There's your 4 inch circle there, the red circle. Your 2 inches, your inner one. 2 to 4 inch circle. 2 inches is starting to get pretty small. That's pretty exciting to see yourself making holes like that at 100 yards. So No. 1 Mark 3, 2 to 4 inches at 100 yards. Now the No. 4 Mark 1 was designed to address accuracy issues. By the time World War I had finished, they knew the No. 1 Mark 3 had to be improved. Other rifles out there could better it in different circumstances. As it was, the No. 1 Mark 3 was a better overall package in most ways, but the No. 4 Mark 1, with its stiffer barrel, was designed to shoot a 2 inch circle at 100 yards. And there's your 2 inch circle in the blue. No. 4 Mark 1, 2 inch circle. The black circle here in the middle, our bullseye for this video, is 1 inch in real life. That's a 1 inch bull. So this is you're seeing what you should get. Now the No. 4 Mark 2, by virtue of having the trigger mounted on the wrist instead of in the forend wood, reduced that 100 yard circle a little bit more, and they can shoot 1.5 inch circles at 100 yards new out of the box. That's getting pretty impressive. That's a standard. Now, by comparison, the Garand, the M1 Garand, famed World War II famous, similar standard to the No. 1 Mark 3, 2 to 4 inch circle at 100 yards, and that's a rifle that was made 20 years later and went on to fame and glory everywhere. No one ever complained about that. But the No. 4 Mark 2, generating a 1.5 inch circle, that was a serious rifle that people looked up to. We're half a century past its heyday, but that was last made in approximately 1955. It went on winning at the target range, at the 1,000 yard target range, until the early 70s. And when you see pictures of the rifles that were shooting alongside, you would hardly believe your eyes how sophisticated they are and how last century the No. 4 looks. And yet there it is at 1,000 yards, drilling 15 inch circles at 1,000 yards. That's incredibly impressive. Now the No. 4 Mark 1T sniper rifles, even this is a very interesting story. No. 1 Mark 3 snipers, I have no information on those. We're fairly certain overall that they were scoped or sighted but hadn't had bedding work done. Might be completely wrong about that, but that seems to be the case. They were well assembled, carefully chosen, but they were otherwise stock. So you can expect 2 to 4 inches with better sighting. Now the No. 4 Mark 1T was expected to put 5 rounds into a 1 inch circle at 30 yards. That's like a bunch of cloverleafs at 30 yards. And that's similar to handgun shooting, accurate handgun shooting. At 100 yards, the T was expected to put 5 rounds into a 3 inch circle. So a 3 inch circle is between the No. 4 rifle and the No. 1. A 3 inch circle. And that doesn't seem to be too much of a challenge, 5 rounds into there. 5 rounds into a 3 inch circle at 100 yards. However, it was also expected to put 7 rounds into a 5 inch circle at 200 yards. So a 5 inch circle is just outside here, not much bigger. 7 rounds into that, and 6 out of 7 rounds into a 10 inch circle at 400 yards. That's 6 out of 7 into a 10 inch circle at 400 yards. By modern standards, I guess these don't sound too impressive, but if you go to the rifle range and try and reproduce this with almost any rifle, you'll be impressed at how not easy that is to achieve that. So the No. 4 Mark 1T, that was a sniper rifle with a pedigree and a half. That is an impressive rifle. Now the later variations on the T snipers, of course, became the L39 and the Envoy range, which looks very similar, but it was in 7.62 caliber and had the forend wood cut back and a heavier, longer barrel put on there. And then you have the L42, which is in 7.62 and a longer, heavier, very high falutin barrel on there. And there are rumours that the old 42, last built in 1971 something, is still seeing active service in Afghanistan every now and then. And that's even, you can hardly believe that's 50 years after that rifle was made. So there you go. That's what your stock standard Enfields are capable of. Take that to the range yourself and try and reproduce it with any rifle. You'll be pretty darn impressed. Start bettering this with your Enfield after you've done some work with your No1 Mk3 and doing 1 MOA, 1 inch circles 100 yards. That'll knock your socks off. So anyway, loads of fun to be had with Enfields.